Welcome to Share and Turning Time. This week is when you go out to battle. You're going out to battle on your enemies, and Hashem is going to allow you to capture your enemy. You're going to capture a captive. So everybody wants to know, what does it mean you're going to capture a captive? You're going to capture a captive. You're going to capture a person, you're not going to capture a captive. How do you capture a captive? You can capture a person. So the idea is, as the Baal Shem Tov says this week, one of the deepest secrets of all times, he says a story of how there was a king who had a very beloved son. And he really wanted only the best for his son. And he goes and he hires a Zonah, and he hires her to seduce his son. And the Zonah goes out trying to seduce the son. But the Baal Shem Tov says that while the Zonah is trying to seduce the son, she's really praying and hoping that he should remain steadfast, he should remain strong. Because ultimately, she's here to serve the king. Says the Baal Shem Tov that whenever a person has in his life, he has enemies in his life, he has obstacles in his life, he has things in his life which is pulling him away from where he wants to be within himself, there's a secret technique that if you meditate on it, it can change the way how you're going to deal on it. And the way how that works is, when you're going out to a battle on your enemy, Hashem is going to give you a gift, and you're going to capture a captive. You're going to capture an idea, and you're going to realize something doesn't make sense. Now the Baal Shem Tov talks a lot about this idea, that whenever you see a lot of security, whenever you see like a big balagan, you know the king is there. It's like, if you go to a place and you just see like tons of security, you know something's going on.
Shindig.
There's something's going on, there's a shindig. You know that something's happening, you know the king is really hiding out there. So whenever you see that there's oivecha, somebody's trying to bring me down, I'm in a situation, this relationship isn't good, I'm having very strong taivas, there's a eshes yefas toya that I want, something's happening, you got to know the king is there. Now if the king is there, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. So you suddenly come to a place that if you can take this Ben Melech, and there's this girl running after him, there's this girl trying to get him, and if you would be able to sit back for a moment and say, hey, what's going on? It doesn't make any sense. Why is she running after me? What's really happening? If he would ask the right questions, he would get to the right people who would feed him information and say, let me tell you something. There's nobody running after you. There's your father putting you through a therapeutic training mission. He's training you how to be a king. He's training you how to be a leader. He wants you to be able to understand people in his kingdom, and he wants you to be able to be strong. You're going to have a lot of conflicts in your life. He wants you to be. So he's setting you up. It's just like when you give a kid training wheels, eventually you take it off. You don't let a kid stay with training wheels. And you expect that he might actually, fall and skin his knees. Whenever you send anybody out into a dangerous place, whenever you go through any type of a training, it's all about how much risk are you ready to put this person through. The more risk you're ready to put him through, that means the more you believe in him. The more risk you're ready to put someone through, that means the more you believe in him. If you ever watched any of these documentaries, like I saw recently, how they train in people in the state troopers. You ever saw how they train you in a state trooper? It means once you pass, it's the same thing like the Navy SEALs, but they have the state troopers, the same thing. You come into the state troopers, they abuse you to no limit. They yell at you, they shout at you, they give you commands, they tell you things that doesn't make any sense. It's impossible, and they force you to go through this entire rigid, confusing structure. Where on the one hand, on the one hand, they tell you, we're expecting you to do ABC. And then, when you're trying to do ABC, they yell at you for doing ABC, and they're telling you did it all wrong. It's supposed to be EFG. Eventually you come to realize that was the training. The training was that we're going to tell you to do ABC, Then we're going to yell at you for doing ABC when you did it right, and you're going to be confused, and you're still going to be able to have obedience and still have to come along with the program, and that's the training that we designed for you. But you don't know that while it's happening, unless you question the story and you say, 1 second, it's my father, he's the king. Is it possible that there should be a Zonah running after me? It doesn't make any sense. How could it be that there's a Zonah if my father's the king and he controls everybody? And everybody here is under the king. How could it be that there's a Zonah running after me? It has to be, it has to be that it was a setup. The day you understand that there's a setup, that's the day your life changes. That's the day when you see in your captive Eishes Yifas Toyer, and that's when you start living your life realizing that everything in my life was designed to be so. I have no enemies. The marriage I'm in was intended to be so. The children I have are exactly the way it's meant to be. The job I have, the situation I'm in, the struggles I have was designed specifically for me. There are no mistakes. And it's when you come to that place, when you realize, you went out to a battle on your enemy. Capture the idea that there are no enemies. It's only a setup for Hashem, for your benefit today.